And then some men opened the door of the car which I was in, and they removed me, and then they drove off. I remember being asked the same questions over and over, and all I could say is, I do not recall. And they asked me, do you recognize any of the men sitting there? And I said, no, I don't recall. Most of the things they asked me, I could not remember.
It was a perfect evening for a father and a daughter. The dad was making up for a birthday date that he had missed, but what he did not know was that very evening, 15 years ago, the father was having a date with his killers. Crime Talk starts now. If this was still January 2008, Martha, the second-born daughter of the late Emily and Joseph Minor, would have been dropped in school, with Kelly, the youngest of them, staying at home with her 26-year-old sister Millie. Events of the January 2008 will show the picture-perfect close-knit family of the then-retired commander of the Kenya Army, Joseph Minor. Joseph had been transferred to Nakuru to train young military officers at the Kenya Military Academy and will travel home every other week to visit his family. Kelly was 5 years old at the time.
So we ran some errands and later went to Kileleshwa, where we owned a house that we rented out to a tenant. The tenant had some issues, so we had to go check it out. On our way back, I don't remember whether it was his idea or mine, but we wanted lollipops.
The dad had missed the daughter's birthday, and Kelly said that they stopped at the local shop to buy candy. The shop was at a short distance from their house.
We stopped at a shop near our house. We used to live along Riara Road. There were many kiosks, but they have been demolished since. I was sitting at the back seat, and my dad got out to go and buy the lollipops and some other things.
Moments later, while holding the gifts from her father and those of her sister, tucked somewhere at the back of her father's car, will witness how the world as she knew it will turn upside down.
So he opened the door and he handed to me the items, and on his way to the driver's seat, I just had 3 gunshots.
Kelly says she stayed frozen in the same spot, terrified. Her father had been shot.
Some men opened the car door where I was sitting and they removed me and they drove off. So I just stood there confused. My dad was on the ground. At the time I was only 5 years old, so I did not know whether he had collapsed or whether he had fainted or if he was playing games. So I just stood there for, I can't remember for how long, but my neighbors who were coming to the shop recognized me and they took me back home.
The retired commander had been shot once in the head and twice on the chest. Nothing had been stolen from him. The retired commander's oldest child says she was at home when a neighbor came rushing in.
So our neighbor's maid came with my younger sister Kelly, and she told me that something had happened. She told me that our father had been shot and she didn't know how that happened. She hadn't finished the statement yet when
Kelly did not utter a word. The 5-year-old had just witnessed the father getting shot.
So after I asked her if our father was still alive, she didn't finish the statement because she didn't know. At that time I was in my nightgown, so I just took my keys and we went to the scene. Being the oldest, I had to keep my sisters away from seeing the body. So when we got there, we saw the body and we didn't react to anything. We just carried back his body to the car and we drove to Nairobi Hospital. At this point I wished that my mom was still alive to give us strength, because that was a very hard moment for me and my sisters. When we got to Nairobi Hospital, we we told the doctors to do all they could to resuscitate him, but unfortunately, he was gone by that time.
Martha Minor, at the time, in her final year in high school, said right after she had resumed to school and unpacked her things, she was called by the school principal and informed about her father's sudden demise.
So I was in the dorm and I just finished unpacking my things when I was called to the principal's office. I had never had a one-on-one with the principal, so this was quite weird. When I got there, I met a family friend looking so eagerly at me. Then she was quite hesitant on what she wanted to say. She's like, Martha, parents, things happen, your father. Then I was like, yes, proceed on with what you have to say. Then she got very hesitant. I got the worst thought. I was like, maybe something happened to him, he got hurt or rather died. Then I asked him, did something happen to him? Then she said he had died. At that time, my greatest concern was what were we going to do when I heard that he had passed on. My elder sister had just gotten a job which was not that stable. And my mom had died 2 years ago. I was still in school and Kelly was just 5 years old. So it was a small family, a young family, and Dad was our primary breadwinner. It was definitely going to change. In the context of that all is when I knew I had to make it in life.
After several weeks of a nationwide manhunt, 4 people were arrested in connection of the killing of the retired commander, John Kimathi, Festus Mwenda, Ken Joroge, and a doctor, David Mutu. The 4 were accused of robbing Joseph a month before his death. The prosecutors relied on an anonymous tip from a man who had information about the murder 5 days before Joseph was gunned down. But the witness, Kelly Minor, was only 5 years old when she saw her father die.
I was 12 and in class 6. I got home and I found Millie, my uncle, and a man seated, and they told me that a court case was about to happen and I was supposed to be a witness. So I knew I could not say no because I was the only one who witnessed the incident, and if I said no, there was not going to be a case.
For 2 days, Kelly stood on the dock to narrate the story of what had happened that fateful day.
I remember being asked the same questions over and over, and all I could say is I do not recall. I was asked whether I recognized any of the men, and I did not recall. Most of the things I was asked, I could not remember. Millie was there with me every day and she was really supportive. Whenever I complained about anything or whether I told her I could not handle it, she would stop everything. And going to court was not the hardest part about it all. It was seeing those men, having to look them in the eye and think of what they did. I'm going to grow up without a father.
4 accused men had met up in Nakuru where they hatched up a plot to kill Joseph after he refused to take a bribe of 280,000 shillings from them. The men apparently wanted him to speak to military recruitment officers to pass them out without training, but he declined. A decision was then made to have him killed. The 4 were accused to have moved to Nairobi and spent a few nights at the city hotel before executing their plot.
You feel bad, but at that point, what can you really do? I didn't even want to look at them because it would trigger everything that happened that night.
The trial took a turn after the suspects disowned their own statements, claiming they had been tortured by the police. One of the witnesses, who had told the court that he was aware of how the plot to kill Joseph was hatched, disowned his own statement in court. After several years of trial, the court assessors returned the not guilty verdict. It was a verdict that the Chief Justice stood by.
Perpetrators of the offense were not found, or maybe they were found, but the investigations done were not good enough to justify conviction. So to that extent, I don't feel like we have or received any justice. The system he worked for 20 years failed on him because he actually dealt with the criminals. Fortunately, when he needed it the most, it didn't come through.
If the retired commander of the Kenya Army was still alive today, he will be 68 years old. It has been 15 years since Joseph Maina Mureithi was gunned down in the presence of his 5-year-old daughter. His killers remain at large, and the motive of his killing still remains a mystery.
I've been your host, Abi WANGUI, and this is Crime Talk. Thank you for watching.